Please read this disclaimer carefully before proceeding further. Welcome traders to this week's analysis of DXY dollar index and currency pairs. Hope you had a great trading week last week, and let's look at what we have on our plate for the next week. Before we go any further, you must remember that this is the last week of this month, and there is a lot of from the fundamental side of it, there are a lot of things which are happening running at the moment. US presidential elections, corona, stimulus, and there's a lot of things happening. Now, you may or may not believe in news. Personally, I do not try to look into the news because I'm not the best person to actually analyze them. They are very subjective. My main thing is my technical analysis, so this is where I am the best. I perform my best, so I stick to my analysis, but I'm always aware of the market conditions. So market conditions can be very, very tricky in the next week and the week after, so you'll have to be extra careful. If you're not comfortable, do not open any positions. If you're taking too much risk, then do not do that. Always have a stop loss in there, always have a risk management in place, and always try to open a position with an amount which you can afford to lose. So all of these ideas that I'm going to provide to you, these are just ideas for education, so make sure that you keep it that way. This is not an investment advice. So let's start looking into DXY. Okay, so DXY, in the month of October, we have been expecting it to be bearish. It actually fell half of the month of October and then tried to recover in the second week, but in the third week, which was the last one, previous one, it started to fall back again. Now this actually started to go upwards in the month of September after touching this moving average, and then now it is coming back down, which is quite acceptable and quite predictable as well, because if you go back to our analysis of at the start of October, this is what I mentioned, that this candle did not close above. That's why it started to go down, and it can keep on going down until it actually reaches a level. So what are those levels? We actually defined those levels. We actually found those levels in previous analysis. If you haven't actually seen those analysis, go and check them out. There is an entire playlist on DXY analysis on YouTube channel, so you can go through them in series and see what we have been talking about, how we have been progressing week per week. Okay, so if I bring back original analysis, these are all the levels that we identified, but these are looking little complicated on this time frame, so we'll have to go to the lower time frame to analyze and look at them. Now before we go there, just a quick revision where we are right now. We have at this W pattern right now, which does not complete here. It actually completes here, somewhere around here. So right now we have a double top, and this double top is quite it is acting right now. It is not complete as of yet, because whenever double top crosses the midpoint, the value of it, then it starts to form an M pattern, and that will be a huge bearish move for dollar. But for now it is not that actually negative. If you compare it with this move, this is smaller, and this move is also smaller than this move. So in comparison, this is not much of a big move as of now, but we are looking at monthly time frame, so a lot can happen, a lot can change in few months and coming months. And remember, the next week is also going to be the last week of the month, so we may have to reanalyze this when we approach the month end. So let's look at the weekly time frame. On weekly time frame, what we have right now is we had a M pattern here, and that's why the market started to move upwards, and it reached a level which we identified here. These are all the levels that we identified. Now market started to fall back down. By the way, how do we read these levels? So how do we find these levels? You can go to previous videos on DXY analysis, and you can see how we came up with these levels. All of these levels are still intact. They are still working. There is no problem with them. Unless we see a new structure, we are going to stick to these levels. They can be a little bit they can be a little off by few pips and all that. A little bit of measurement can be off, but they are still working fine. So what we have right now is these are the levels which are present there. Now how do we trade these levels? When the market is moving like this, if it is going down, pretty much like this. It started to fall down from this FCP zone, right? So it is expected to come towards 92,412, right? So that's what was happening. It did not quite reach there. That's fine. And if it starts to move upwards, then we are looking for 92.998 as our profit target. If it starts to fall down once again, then we are looking for this level 92,412. So depending on the direction where the market is moving, these levels can act as support and resistance. So these are very, very important levels. But mind you, these levels are not support and resistance. They are not at all support and resistance. You will rarely see me drawing support and resistance in my analysis. I do not use them as per se, but they work perfectly fine. And these are much more accurate. As you can see, the market came here, and this is the decision point that we were looking for. We were expecting market to either start to move up into this 94.30, 94.36, or start to fall down to 93.362. If that was crossed, then we were expecting it to come to 92.998, which it did. And if that was broken as well, then we were looking for market to come to 92.412, which it has not reached yet. And because now this FCP zone has started to act as a barrier, or you can call that as a resistance as well, it is falling down, and it can come back down into 92.412, somewhere around here. It may be a little bit off, but this is what we are looking at. And if that is broken, then we are looking at the previous low, which is going to be somewhere around here, 91.686. So this is what we have here. But even before that, let me actually give you another idea what this could be doing. You see, there are multiple opportunities, multiple options that market can actually take. One of them is actually it is trying to create a W pattern, and if you measure that using FCP technique, then it is going to complete somewhere around 96 level or so. Okay, so that's bullish possibility that we have. We still have that. Second thing is the market, if it starts to go down, then it could be looking for 90 level or so. And the reason behind that is, if I go to the monthly time frame, if I go to the weekly time frame, I'm not sure whether you can identify this. People who have gone through FCP training, they probably can identify this. This is actually an M pattern, which is going to complete somewhere around 89.9, near about 90 level or so. And you'll see that is also a structure level here. So what we have is that if the market starts to go down, then it will reach 89.935, right? That's the level. And if it starts to move upwards, then we have all these levels. Okay, and ultimately it is expected to reach 96.481. So as traders, we must have plan for both bearish and bullish side of things all the time. We may have a different bias. We may have bias. I personally have a bias that ultimately US dollar is going to be bullish in medium to long term, but trading can be a little different, right? When the market is moving in one direction or another direction, I should have planned for both sides in order to take advantage of the market movement. I cannot just say that it is going to be, because my bias is bullish, then it will definitely move upwards. No, the bias can be medium to long term, but what you see is what you trade. So if it's going down, then I'm going to take short trade. If it is going up, then I'm going to take long trade. So I must have planned for both sides. So that's how we do it. But if you are interested in that training, then you can check out the description of this video. We have this sort of very extensive curriculum on the training. Okay, now this is DXY. Okay, so DXY still has a possibility of actually going down to 92.412. It can actually continue a little bit down, further down. And remember, there is a lot of volatility coming, so it can be up and down, taking stop. There can be stop loss hunting up and down, and there can be a lot of volatility as well. Okay, so what can we do? We can also check out the water envisage. Now water envisage is basically water trend algo indicator itself, but now the new version is going to be called water envisage 4.0. so what we can see here is that on daily time frame, the first time in all these times, look at this trend, right? This is the water curve line. Now this curve line has been red throughout for days, right? It actually started to change from here, which was April 2020, right? Since then it has been bearish, 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 bearish. This is the first time it has started to turn into bullish. The color has changed to blue. That means ultimately now dollar is going to turn into bullish on the bull side. But we have to be still careful because the price is still below it, and this is the signal that we last got. The last signal was a bearish signal, and we are looking for near about 92,270. That's the signal, that's the target that it can come up to. So 92,252, and if we go to our analysis, this is near about 92,412. So this can actually stretch into a little bit lower than that as well. And if it actually goes there, if it wants to go there, then we can take short positions. If you're day trading or if you're taking short-term trades, then you can look for short positions. But as I said, keep on reminding the same thing, you'll have to be extra careful these days because of volatility. Now if I go to the weekly time frame, this is still looking bearish because the last time it was bullish was around here. It was 3rd of November 2019, but since then it has been bearish. But you see, the last signal that we received was a bullish signal, and so far it hasn't actually crossed the maximum level, which is 90.573. That means until it reaches 90.573, we can still look for a long position. However, because the market is still bearish, there can be few problems. It can take a long time. It can go sideways and then start to move upwards because the higher time frame is not in our favor. Okay, and this is the level that it is saying, that what I is saying, that 96.381 can be reached, which actually matches with our analysis, which is the maximum here. And if I go to the weekly time frame and hide this, you'll notice that market is creating a W pattern, and that will place it somewhere around here as the W pattern completion. This is the FCP pattern completion, which is going to take us near about to 96 if it goes bullish. Okay, so that's what Envisage is telling us. Okay, other one is EURUSD. Okay, on EURUSD, obviously, if DXY is going other way, then EURUSD is going to go other way. Now, if there is any kind of manipulation happening right now on dollar, because you might not have noticed that, or maybe you did, they have been actually reducing shorts on US dollar, and they have been actually reducing longs on EURUSD. But the market has been going upwards on EURUSD. That basically means they want to push the EURUSD in certain direction to make the dollar cheaper so that they can buy at a lower price. If that is happening, then if dollar is going down, obviously EURUSD is going up, but it's the other way around. So far, last week and week before, they have been pushing the euro upwards, and so that it starts to impact DXY. Because if you go to any other, the GBP hasn't moved that much, AUDUSD hasn't moved that much. Okay, it's the EURUSD that they have been manipulating, so that they can make the dollar become cheaper. Nonetheless, we trade what we see, and this is what we had last week. As I said, all these levels are still intact, and we can be looking for a market move back down into 1.7771. The reason behind that is because when we were standing here, I said market can come into 1.771, and it did. And then the next level was this FCP zone. So market came right into this FCP zone, touched that 1.87, and then started to fall down. It did not quite reach that level, that target, once again, because we were expecting it to come to FCP zone and fall back down, but it did not. So it can happen again. So this is a possibility. They might actually start to move EURUSD even higher, a little bit higher, to reach this 1.8880, right? 1.880, that sort of level, which is, or even to 1.19, which is a round number around here, and which has acted as a very good supply level as well, so they can actually push the price upwards. If they do, that means the DXY will go down a little bit, and then they might start to bring this down. Other case is that there is another level which might be opening up, is this one. If I draw Fibonacci on this, give me just 1 second. If I draw Fibonacci on here and Just change it. Okay. They could be moving towards something like this, somewhere around here. Okay, so if they start to move higher, then we can actually reach that level as well. But before they do that, they will have to go through this level which is present, okay, which is close to 1900 or so, 1980, I guess, 19080, something around there, right? So these levels are still very, very important. So going further, what we have in the next week, if I go to the weekly time frame, the market is still looking very good. It may actually start to move a little bit upwards, because they will keep on keep on sticking to their plan, whatever manipulation that they are actually doing right now, and that they can continue with that. And this is also forming a W pattern which can take into it can bring into 1.2 level as well, which was actually tested once, and they could be coming towards it again to create a double top sort of scenario. But the biggest thing is, let me go to the monthly time frame. Okay, you see that moving average is sitting at 1.92. okay, so let's put that in here, and another level which is present is going to be somewhere around 1.215. okay, this is the one that I've shared in the Telegram group as well. And the reason behind that is because there is a W pattern here, and the extended version actually completes at 1.215. so that's the maximum Euro USD bullish move, and if that happens, that means the dollar is going to go down to that 90.89 level that we discussed. So that's what we have. So these levels are still available there, and I will update further in the Telegram group. If you're not there on Telegram group, then you can find that link of the group in the description. Go and check it out, it's free for everyone. Okay, so this is Euro USD. Let's go to GBPUSD. On GBPUSD, what we have is that we were expecting market to come into one of these levels, and now it is testing right now, and you might be able to see that there is a W pattern forming. Now it can actually come back down into this 1.30 level, because that's a very good round number, and this also probably coincides with a Fibonacci, 61.8. so this is kind of like level that we are looking for, but we are still waiting for market to actually continue upwards. I'll be personally looking for a long position from here if it starts to move upwards. If I get a confirmation, we have 5 confirmation techniques. So if market actually comes in here, if I get a confirmation, I'll look for confirmation back into this 1.862, and if that gets broken, then I'll also be looking at this level, and if that gets broken, then these levels are still there. On the bearish side of things, if I just remove this, on the bearish side of things, these levels are still there, but we'll be looking for something like this now, and there'll be this level, because this was an important level last time. Okay, so this is the plan. Okay, so how do we read this again? If the market goes through this FCB zone, if it gets broken, then the next level we are looking for is 1.28885, and if that gets broken, then we are looking for this one. If this does not get broken, if its market starts to move up, then it will come into 1.3. If the market comes into FCP zone, and if it just doesn't not break, then we're looking for a long back into 1.862. If that gets broken to the upside, then we're looking for 1.1784. basically you follow all these levels and look for long and short opportunities based on your confirmation technique. So far we have covered Euro USD, GBP USD along with DXY, and let's look at AUDUSD. On AUDUSD, we were actually sitting on a very good decision point here, and I said that market could be coming towards 1.70114, which it did not quite reach there, but it reached our upper level, which is 0.71279. Okay, now the reason behind this was like, because the market created an M pattern, and I was looking for market to come to this level, but it already had created an M pattern. So there was a little bit of mistake on my part, that I was looking for little deeper movement before I could go long. So I could not take a long in here, but nonetheless this actually has worked out, and it has reached its profit target as well. It has reached 61.8. so this turned out to be a very good trade for people who have taken this. Now what do we do? The next step is actually again to follow these levels which we have. If the market starts to move upwards, so these are all the levels that we have. Okay, so they can be, okay, there is another one actually. You see the little gap around here, so the market could be looking to fill that up. So this is what we are looking for, something around here. Okay, now if the market starts to move up first, then we are looking for that. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yep, on the 4 hour we have 200 moving average right there, so market could be moving upwards. If it starts to go upwards, then this is the level we are looking for. Okay, right, so just follow the arrows and follow the levels. That's all we have, and all the levels are still looking pretty good actually. Okay, let's move on to USDCAD. Okay, on USDCAD, along with DXY, a lot of things were actually happening on USDCAD. If I go to the monthly time frame, this is actually an interesting thing that I will show you right now. Look at this structure that we have, right? I'm not sure whether you can read this, but this is one of the W patterns that we that I teach as well. So this is a W pattern which actually completed around here. Okay, and there is another W pattern which starts from here, goes to this level, and then it forms like this. Okay, and that's why it started to fall from that level. Okay, now just remember the pattern. Okay, you see the pattern actually looks like this. Okay, let's just keep it there. Okay, so this is the one that we have. Okay, another one that you can draw is something like this. This is going to be a little more complex. Okay, now let me go to favorite cryptocurrency pair, which is Bitcoin, and let me show you something on there. It's the same pattern which is forming right now. Okay, this is the same thing which is happening right now. If I go to the weekly time frame, it will start to make more sense. Okay, now let's go to USDCAD once again. Okay, now but on monthly time frame, and after that it falls, because whenever there is a W pattern, the market is expected to fall. There are more chances of it actually falling, because the completion of a W pattern is a bearish case and the formation of W pattern is a bullish case. So on USDCAD, what we have right now is that market actually created this W pattern. It fell down right into, let me just quickly remove this. Surprise, surprise, what it has fallen into is 61.8 right there. So that level is still very, very important. Okay, and the next level that you're looking for is something around here. And if I just remove this, you see the market came right into 61.8, started to move upwards. And if I draw Fibonacci on this, this came into 23.6, but it actually is expected to come to here. Okay, so these levels are still very, very important. If I go to the weekly time frame, what do I see is that market can be heading towards this level. Okay, and then if I go to the daily time frame, what we see that we have possibly a W pattern forming. Okay, like this. That means if the market starts to go bullish, then it will start to come right into this level again, which is right there. But this is 23.6, and now market could be heading into this level of 1.30640. Okay, so if I, and there is an M pattern forming as well, so if I draw Fibonacci on it, this has actually completed its level, it's a pattern. Okay, and now what we're looking for is something like this. So this is an FCP pattern which market has already touched, but we do not care because like market can come back to this or even like violate this. We need a proper confirmation before we start to move upwards, and we can take a long position from here. If the market breaks through this and performs a retest, then we're looking for a short position, otherwise we're looking for a long. And you will also notice that market is creating a smaller W pattern here, so I'll put these levels in there which are of importance. Okay, that means we are looking for a move like this. If the market starts to move upwards, then we are looking for move into this, then this, and then from here to here, and from there it may come there. Okay, and on the bear side, if it breaks through, then we are looking for that, and then we'll have to like reanalyze to see if there is any new structure. So this is what we have on USDCAD. Okay, let's go and check it out on here. Okay, so we haven't actually seen the EURUSD and other currency pairs as well. So on EURUSD, the market is still bullish on weekly time frame, but this was our last bearish signal. Okay, since then we have received another signal, but that is not like the proper one, because the market is still bearish here, but bullish here. So it's a confusing signal, and that is why it is going consolidation. But if the market starts to go down, then it is expected to come down to near about 1.31 level, and if it starts to go upwards, then it can go to all the way 1.20607. so that's on weekly, and it is already bullish, so we should ideally be preferring a bullish move. Okay, so let's look at the daily. On daily time frame, we are still bullish. Okay, we are still looking for bull move. There was a signal here. No, we are not, sorry, no, we are not bullish. We have just turned bearish, pretty much like what we had on DXY, but because the last was a bull bull indication here, it can go all the way to 1.9267. so that's what we are looking for the profit target from based on the signal. You see the color changed from red to blue and red to blue, and there was a signal, that's why it is looking for upwards. But you see the trend is also shifting, so it may or may not reach that level. Okay, if you're long, then you should ideally be start managing your position, because the trend is about to shift. It is shifting after such a long time. Okay, so that's what we have on EURUSD. Let's check out GBPUSD. On GBPUSD, similar thing. The trend is shifting now, and there was a bullish signal which may or may not reach here at 1.33467, because the trend is shifting. But if there is any sort of bullish movement, then it will reach there. We already had a bearish signal on the trend shift, right? And that can bring it down to 1.26478. Okay, if I go to the 4-hour time frame, what I see that market had a signal here which reached its profit target at 1.30170, and this bullish signal was very good because it started from here, color changed from red to blue. There was a signal here. This is the expected profit target which automatically reached. All the white arrows, all the white dots are profit targets, and blue are expected, like the maximum opposite side range. So this is what we have on GBPUSD. Let's go to AUDUSD. Okay, on AUDUSD we have on weekly time frame, we are still bullish. Okay, it started the change here. We are still bullish, and this is the last bearish move that we had, bearish signal that we had. We had bearish, but this is bullish, so that's why it's consolidating, and it may take time to come back down to 0.6732 if it does. Otherwise it can start to move upwards, which we do not have signal on as of yet. Okay, if I go to the daily time frame, we have a bullish signal, but the trend has already shifted to bearish. So if the market keeps on moving upwards, then it can come to 0.72231. But you see this water curve, this also acts as like, you know, resistance or support, if you want to say like that. Then this can also, like, you know, act as like, you know, profit target level. But the market was giving very good signals. It has been almost reaching its profit targets as well. Okay, this one has not yet reached its profit target, so 69760 is still on available on this one. Okay, let's go to the, which one was the last one that we were looking at? Okay, USDCAD. Okay, so let's look at USDCAD here. On USDCAD, if I go to the monthly time frame, we can see that market is shifting its trend. It is already, and that's why this is actually going down. The maximum it can go down is near about 1.23745, and if that starts to happen, that means there will be a lot of bearishness in US dollar as well. If I go to the weekly time frame, there is already trend has changed again. There was a minor trend change here after a long time. The trend has changed again. It has turned bullish. This is bullish, this is bullish. Now we had a bullish signal as well, and this is the profit target level, which is 1.36581. and if I draw Fibonacci on this, this comes right into 38.2 that we were just discussing a minute ago. So if the market actually starts to go upwards, then this is the level that it can reach. If I go to the daily time frame, what we have here is that market is bearish, and it can come down to these levels, approximately 1.30302, that sort of level, or even down to this level, which we discussed. Like, there can be a little bit of bearish scenario in there. Otherwise, it can start to move upwards, and these are all the levels that we already discussed in our analysis. Okay, so let's look at USDCHF. Okay, on USDCHF, not much has been happening. The last week I mentioned that, you know, this FCP zone is still going to be a deciding one, because this was still inside this, and it was still very confusing in there. But if you just remove all of this and remove these, there is nearly no difference between what you see here, what you see in terms of structure here, and on DXY. If I just hide everything, okay, and the reason behind that is same, because they are manipulating EURUSD and USDCHF, right? So USDCHF is kind of opposite of EURUSD, and DXY is doing nearly the same thing. As you can see, they are nearly the same thing. So whatever the plan that we have on DXY can also be applied on USDCHF. If DXY starts to move down, then you can expect USDCHF to go down as well. Okay, and in terms of levels, this should be okay. Let's look at the daily time frame. Yeah, so we, again, similar to what DXY, we also have an M pattern forming right now, but this can actually come down into this level. Let's measure this actually. If I measure it, I see these two important levels here. Yeah, okay, so if market starts to go down, then we are looking for this level. Okay, and if they starts to go upwards, then we are looking for this, and these levels. So these are all the levels that we have on USDCHF. Let's check it on what envisage here, USDCHF, and bring in our monthly time frame. Monthly time frame, it is still bearish, and it has reached the previous profit target level, which was identified here. Let's go to the weekly time frame. On weekly time frame, it is still bearish. Okay, but we were given a signal right there. There is a signal right now which appeared last week. Okay, so that can actually bring it down to 0.88701. so there is a bearish case for USDCHF. Why is it showing in gray? Is because this trend is still bullish, but the signal is downward move, so there is discrepancy between these two. Now if your analysis is saying that it probably will go down, then you should follow this signal. Otherwise you should just completely ignore it and stick to the previous signal that is still active. Okay, if it starts to move upwards, then we have 0.95022 level which can be reached. If I go to the daily time frame, okay, so far the market has been falling based on this, and it can come down into near about 0.89775 level, because the market is bearish on weekly and daily as well, so there are more chances of it actually falling down, and so far it has been. Okay, in terms of 4-hour time frame, let's go there. On 4-hour time frame also this is still bearish, so in nearly all the time frames it is bearish, and this was the signal which was given, and it can come down to 0.9 round number, which is also a very important level. Okay, so this is what we had on USDCHF. Hope you enjoyed this entire analysis. Right, so that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found this useful. If you did, do not forget to hit the like button, and in the comment section let me know your thoughts, whether this has been useful, or what is your opinion about this analysis, or what is your opinion about any particular currency pair or DXY or market conditions. And also do not forget to share this video with other traders and trading communities, because that's how we learn and earn with each other. The entire trading community is based on sharing the ideas and giving back to the community, right? That is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to give back to trading community with this deep analysis, with all these levels and everything, the information, the education that I'm providing for free. This is my way of giving back. So make sure that you are also doing the same thing, showing your gratitude, showing sharing this with other traders and trading communities. All right, okay, hope you have a very good trading week next week, and trade well. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. If you're interested in learning how to analyze the markets the way I do using Fibonacci Confluence, then head over to Vikinsa.com, and under training section you'll be able to see Core Strategy Training Program. On this page you'll be able to see the testimonials of previous students, and also look at the brochure. The brochure has a lot more information, including the course structure and the Fibonacci Confluence Training Program curriculum. This is a very extensive program in which we cover basic core Fibonacci concepts along with the advanced concepts to analyze the markets with high probability. If you're interested in joining this program, come to Vikinsa.com, and under training section you'll be able to see and submit this form.